My beloved, cease the hurry of your mind for a single sacred breath, and let the hush I bring settle like soft gold across your chest. Listen as if the air itself were speaking. There is a call here for you, tender and fierce at once, shaped by purpose and laid out like a path of light just beyond the fog you have carried. And I have guided you here because something inside you is finally ready to be seen. In this stillness, feel the warmth that rises, not from the sun above, but from an inner fire I have kept kindled in you. A lamp long sheltered from the storms, now leaning toward the quiet window where your soul can drink in its glow. Imagine a gentle light, thin, honeyed, golden, tracing the contours of your doubt and easing them into softer shapes, painting over old fear with a luminous patience that knows how to wait and how to heal. Hear me. Now rise, my child, receive this blessing. Let your breath slow as if each inhale is a rope pulling you back to shore. Each exhale a release of stones you were never meant to carry. The world has taught you to sprint and strategize and armor up, but here I ask only that you come with an open chest and honest hands. No pretense, no polished answers, because what is being offered does not come through cleverness, but through surrender, through the small, brave motion of yielding what you cannot fix. I am speaking straight into the place you hide from yourself. The part that thinks its wounds disqualify it. The part that counts mistakes like badges of shame. Listen, those tally marks will be turned into stitches of light, so that your history becomes the very fabric of the garment I am weaving for you. Close your eyes if you must, and picture a gate, an old, modest gate that you have passed so many times without noticing. Now see it slowly open, hinges whispering in the language of mercy, and beyond it a field breathing with possibility. Watch as a gentle rain begins to fall there, not of ordinary water, but of tiny glints of mercy, each droplet carrying the scent of second chances, each one landing where your expectation was once parched and now starts to soak and swell. This is a visualization to hold. The gate opens, the rain comes, and with it the soft green of new beginnings pushing up through the soil you thought was barren. You have labored under the heavy sun of worry, believing the only currency that mattered was visible achievement. But my economy works differently. Abundance begins in the tender places. Gratitude, small faith, a single compassionate act, and these simple currencies compound invisibly until a harvest appears that no ledger could have predicted. Feel the movement of that harvest as a current passing through your bones, that warm, steady current that rearranges your priorities like leaves carried into a gentle eddy, so that what once seemed urgent falls back into its rightful smallness. There is an urgency now, yes, an urgency born of love, not panic. A summons to wake from tiny compromises that have kept your spirit thin, and to walk instead into spaciousness designed for your flourishing. I say to you plainly, step forward. Move with the whole of your heart. This is not a whisper for the casual listener. It is a summons for the faithful willing to trade the brittle safety of smallness for the messy magnificence of becoming. You may have asked yourself 1,000 times, will I be seen? Will my quiet work matter? Will those I love be spared what I cannot bear? Hear this. Every unseen kindness you have offered, every private prayer whispered in the dark, every act of mercy given when no one watched is catalogued in a tenderness that never forgets. The ledger of the heart does not lose entries. Even nights you sat awake with fear have been crucibles, refining what is inside you. Patience, discernment, a steadiness that cannot be manufactured in the bright glare of success. Picture for a moment the inside of your chest as a room where the walls have been scrubbed by time. Now see my hand painting murals there with scenes of restoration, faces of people you love, places of laughter you forgot. opportunities you thought had passed, all animated now by a slow, sacred choreography. Let your shoulders drop. Let the tightness around your throat unbind. When anxiety rises like a tide, place your palm over your heart and feel the subtle rock of its rhythm. That beat is the metronome of hope, kept steady in you deliberately, and it is by that rhythm you will learn to pace yourself into the work ahead. There will be tests, gentle pressures that feel like the earth consenting to shape you, not to punish but to prepare. And know this: nothing that has shaped you was accidental. The disappointments, the delays, the doors that closed with painful finality have been the quiet hands propping you at the exact angle needed for the next light to fall through. Imagine a sculptor leaning in, chisel in hand, removing what must be removed so that the figure within can breathe. Your trials have been those chisel marks. Your courage now is to accept the artistry at work, to trust that roughness will make room for beautiful contours. Let go of frantic strategies that demand you control outcome. Instead, learn the art of listening for a small yes, one step at a time. A narrow piece of ground illuminated where you can put your foot. Trust the promptings that come with peace. When clarity arrives, it will feel like a soft bell rather than a trumpet. Gentle, exacting, offering direction without shame, guiding you toward gates you had not yet conceived. Visualize again a corridor of lanterns, each one lit by a memory of mercy. And as you walk this corridor, they flare brighter with each prayer you release. This is one of your visualization moments. The lanterns feed each other. Your breath fans them into steady flame, and suddenly you can see farther than you could before. You will encounter voices, some external, some internal, saying you are too late, too flawed, too ordinary to be used for something extraordinary. Name those voices. Do not hide from them. Then hand them to me, like a child handing over a heavy sack to a strong parent at the threshold of a door. Feel the relief as you set it down. Receive this blessing. That which is given to me is reworked into purpose. From the cracked places, new rivers flow. From broken vows, the strongest promises emerge. Because promises that survive pain become the architecture of endurance. There are people positioned around you, not by accident but by design, whose encouragement will come at precisely timed moments. Be alert to a message, a conversation, a passing remark that feels like a key finding the right lock. You will know them because peace will accompany them, even if what they say disrupts your plans. Peace will be the hallmark of what truly aligns with the work I have for you. Practice noticing the small signs. A stranger's smile that steadies you. A sudden financial ease. A door that opens after long knocking. These are tokens. Collect them in your awareness like shells on a shoreline. Tangible reminders that the tide of my care is real. I do not demand grand gestures from you. I honor the quiet faithfulness of your small choices. Turning from bitterness, speaking a kind word, choosing rest over frantic productivity. Rest is not escape. It is an altar where I refill you. And now, my child, receive a vision of abundance. Imagine a river of light entering your life, not draining others, but widening your capacity to give, to bless, to create. See the river widening into a beautiful lake of resources, emotional, spiritual, physical, where you stand on a shore that did not exist before, invited to build a home from a harvest that grew in secret. This is a visualization of wealth that is not merely monetary, but holistic. Wealth of time, of peace, of loving relationships, of meaningful work that lifts the soul. When you think of wealth, do not only picture numbers. Picture light-filling rooms, laughter around tables, freedom to choose generosity because your cup is full enough to overflow. Let this image root deep. Golden light pouring in through windows, warm laughter like wind among curtains, abundance arriving like a gentle rain that does not batter but nourishes. See yourself opening your hands to receive it and then turning to hand it away, a cycle of blessing that multiplies what you touch. There will be moments you fear this is too much to bear. The responsibility to steward blessing, the terror of new influence, the worry that goodness may corrupt. I promise you this: the more you steward with humble hands, the more clarity you receive about when to hold and when to release. Guard your heart, yes, but do not lock it. Vulnerability will become your strength, an entrance for connection and for miracles to move through your life and through others. Imagine your heart as a window that has been fogged and is now being wiped clear. The world outside looks different when seen through cleaned glass. Your past does not vanish, but it becomes a backdrop from which you step forward into what is being framed now. There are times when you will not feel the movement, but that does not mean it is not happening. Underground, roots are growing where you cannot see them. Above ground, leaves are simply waiting their season. Cultivate patience that breathes hope. When impatience whispers that you have been forgotten, remind yourself of the steady rhythm within you and of the small proofs I have already given. Hold fast to gratitude as a practice. Thank me for the cup in your hand, for the roof over your head, for the breath that speaks your name. Gratitude is not denial of hardship. It is a lever that lifts perspective and invites more clarity to take residence in your thoughts. In the quiet act of naming what is good, you open channels for new blessings to flow. Listen closely. There will be testing of your trust. Old insecurities will beckon. Familiar defenses will want to rise. Notice them without shame. Each time you choose trust over suspicion, courage over retreat, your vision expands. That expansion will be subtle at first, a sharper sense of where to invest your time, a new alignment of relationships, a small but decisive shift in your daily rhythm. Then, one morning, you will wake and feel a different gravity at the center of your being, a pull toward people and projects that carry meaning. And you will know, without needing to shout, that the next chapter is ready. I have prepared not just for your survival, but for your flourishing. There is a destiny that bears your name, and it is being assembled not by your frantic hands, but by patient, loving design. Expect surprises. A call that seems random will become standing room for a miracle. A conversation that felt awkward will germinate into partnership. A setback will strangely open a better gate. This is how I work. Through the seams of ordinary life, turning what seems derailed into a higher road. Now, in the hush, take a moment to reaffirm. Say aloud, even if your voice trembles, the truth I am placing on your lips. Speak these short declarations with intention and let them sit as seeds in the soil of your soul. I am chosen, I am beloved, I am sufficient. Repeat them until the echoes in your mind grow louder than the old accusations. Then add a stream of affirmations for your shift into abundance. I am ready to receive. I am open to miracles. I am a steward of great things. I am blessed to bless. I am anchored in love. I am rising in purpose. I am anchored in peace. Let these be the drumbeats that steady your step. There will be sorrow that tries to linger, old grief that resurfaces like a winter that did not know it could end. But grief is not final here. It is the classroom where tenderness learns to lead, where compassion learns roots. Let your tears be baptized by mercy. Allow your heart to unclench so that joy can come not as a denial, but as a fuller, truer response to life's complexities. Forgiveness will appear as a strange, soft courage. Forgive yourself for believing you are not enough. Forgive others for the harm they could not prevent. Forgive the world for pushing you into hard shapes. Forgiveness is not permission for repeat harm. It is the key that frees you to step into your calling unencumbered. Picture, for a final visualization, a vast field beneath a dawn sky. Light and air and vast space. The field sprouting with tall stalks heavy with grain. A harvest too abundant for one to gather alone. You are standing at the edge with baskets offered by people you have not yet met. Together you will reap, and the fruit will not be hoarded but shared, and in the sharing a deeper joy will be born. Now rise, my child. Walk out from the narrower room of old expectations into the wider room that has always been reserved for you. Receive this blessing, that your life will be reoriented toward beauty and justice, toward generosity and rest, toward work that sings in your bones and relationships that mirror gentle grace. Let your hands move in acts of kindness. Let your voice be a harbor for the weary. Let your choices be small, steady alliances with hope. Expect clarity in the next hours and days in ways that will surprise the strategist in you. The clarity will come not as a map, but as a steadying presence, a felt sense of onward. Watch for signs. A sudden ease in a financial corner you feared. An apology that opens a new conversation. A message that reads exactly like an answer you prayed for in secret. When these arrive, do not let suspicion dim their power. Receive them as proofs that I am working on your behalf. There is one more thing I ask you to carry forward. The posture of humble courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to go anyway with an open heart. Hold the people you love tenderly, but do not let their limitations define you. Hold the world's brokenness without letting it harden you. Hold your own wounds with curious compassion, knowing they are the very places my healing is reshaping into strength. When doubt snarls, remember the beat of your chest and how it has been sustained through every night you thought you might break. Remember the gate that opened and the rain that followed. Remember the lanterns you lit along a corridor you were invited to walk down. These are not illusions. They are the architecture of a life being rebuilt on purpose. As you move now into ordinary hours, carry this simple practice. When your mind pulls toward worry, place a hand over your heart. Breathe slowly 3 times and whisper a single phrase of thanks. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the unseen work you are doing. Gratitude will become your compass. In the hum of daily chores, in the quiet of your own room, in the companionship of family and strangers alike, let my presence be the melody undergirding every moment. Your story is not ending. It is deepening into purpose. The best is not ahead in some distant loo. It begins here, in your steadied breath, in your willingness to say yes. There are people across the earth moving toward the same turning point. Your yes echoes into them and theirs into you. It is a movement of tender courage that will not be stopped. And now, before this sacred moment fades into the rhythm of your day, anchor these affirmations deep within you. Short, strong, true. I am ready to receive. I am worthy of abundance. I am guided by gentle light. I am a conduit of blessing. I am held and I am free. Let these be your banner. Walk gently into the coming hours with expectation, with rest in your step, with generosity on your tongue. You are being remade not by scarcity, but by overflowing mercy. You are beloved, chosen, and never abandoned. Amen. I am ready to receive. I am chosen for abundance. I am guided by light. I am one with divine love. I am free. I am blessed. Arise, beloved, and listen. As the next movement unfolds, let your breathing fall into a slower, sacramental rhythm, each inhale drawing in a calm as wide as the night sky, each exhale casting out what has weighed you down. Feel now a fresh warmth unfurling beneath your ribs, a gentle furnace of purpose that was stoked in silence and is now ready to roll its light outward through you. In this next chapter, imagine a vast hall of mirrors, not to make you admire or compare, but to reflect every small courage you have ever mustered. See yourself in those reflections, not fractured but multiplied. Each image a different way you showed up, each one holding a fragment of the future I am arranging for you. This is your second visualization. Stand within the hall and watch patterns of golden thread appear across the glass, connecting moments you once thought disconnected. Where once there seemed only scattered events, now notice a web of meaning tightening into form. There is a sound like distant bells, but softer, like a promise being rehearsed. It is the sound of alignment, a signal that your intentions and the hidden workings of grace are beginning to sync. Receive this command. Step into the light laid before you. Claim this gift. Let your feet meet the ground with new certitude, knowing that the small decisions you make each morning are the architects of long-term miracles. Do not mistake the gentle pace for absence of power. Beneath your calm, a deep reordering takes place. Priorities shift like constellations moving into a map only you can follow, and what was previously urgent loses its gravity. Picture a coastline at dawn. The tide that once battered your defenses now recedes to reveal smooth stones and scattering shells, treasures you could not see while the waters swelled. Gather a few. Each stone becomes a lesson you can hold and name. Each shell becomes evidence that you survived. Here is another vision. A gateless garden where fruit appears not with frantic forcing, but in patient timing. You notice one branch suddenly heavy with ripe abundance, and as you reach for it, you realize the sweetness has been developing beneath seasons you barely noticed. Wealth, in this season, arrives with tenderness, a circulation of resources that make space for rest, for creative play, for giving without calculation. Picture your hands full, generous, offering without shrinkage. Imagine the astonishment of receiving back in ways that multiply what you release. There are voices you will encounter that will still try to shrink you. Old critics, inner doubters, the anxious whisper that warns you to take less, aim lower, hide softer. Acknowledge them briefly, like clouds passing a luminous sun. Do not let them become weather you live under. Instead, cultivate a new inner grammar. When doubt speaks, answer with a pause. When fear demands a script, respond with a breath. When impatience drums, return to steadiness. This is an inner practice as practical as any discipline. 3 deep breaths when overwhelm threatens. 1 phrase of gratitude when your mind runs the worst-case scenario. A small act of generosity when scarcity tightens its fist. These are the instruments by which the quiet revolution of your life will play out.